Hello and welcome, everybody. I am back today. My name is Joelle, and I am with firstediting.com, and we do professional editing services. And today we wanted to bring out and talk with one of our featured published authors, which means he has successfully published his book. His name is Adrian Gonzalez, and he has published The Morning Zen, a fantastic book out there. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about it, but we're here to discuss how publishing happens and how the transition from editing to publishing has happened for him, and hopefully that will inspire you so you can also. So welcome, Adrian. How are you today?
Hi, Joel, and thank you for the opportunity. And sure, I'm more than thrilled to share my experience with all the people or the reading community or the writers or the authors, so they can also learn and check where was my best practices. And yes, as you said, I have my little baby here. It's called Morning Zen.
Woohoo!
Empower your life
Nice.
by transforming your mornings. And yeah, thanks to first editing. That was like I can say like my trust guidance to complete this project.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm so glad, and I'm happy for you because it really is. I think holding your book for the first time really brings you to, I don't know, it's you've birthed it. It's a new being in the world, and it exists forever, and that's a fantastic feeling. So I'm really proud of everything you've done and happy for you, and I'm glad we could help you on that journey. So I'm going to start off just asking you some questions, and you can tell us a little bit about you and the process and everything else. But I know that Morning Zen is also, it's not only a book, you also have a podcast, correct?
Craig, I have a podcast, and also it started like as a coaching. I
Yeah.
started as a coaching about how we can improve our mornings, how we can hack ourselves positive, and that how that create this zen or this motivation during the day. And we understand that once we complete this set of habits, we are ready to start the 9 to 5 or the day that we have. So yeah, we have a podcast as well. The podcast is more like tips, like beyond. Like if you like the book, you can listen to me beyond the podcast. It's called New Perspectiva, like new perspective, but because I'm Latino, I put it like English with Spanish, New Perspectiva. And there I give also tips about life, tips about business life, because I have a master degree and I get very involved in this business community or CEO or leaders, how you say, community. And I also like to share with people like tips and things that they can apply. So yeah.
Exactly. And I do want to mention that I feel strongly that all of those tips of motivation and perseverance and being positive and not giving up, tenacity, all those fantastic things that help a person succeed as a CEO, as a coach, and also apply as an author. So I really do encourage anybody who's out there to, listen to what Adrian has to say today. And if you're curious about how to be inspired when it seems tough and it's hard, when you're transitioning from having completed writing your book to go ahead and to take the next step of editing, which can be a long and arduous process, and then going on to the marketing and the publishing and building your audience, all those things that make us successful authors. I do encourage you to go ahead and check out the Morning Zen, and it's morningzen.com, correct?
Themorningsend.com. Yeah.
Exactly. So go over there, check out the podcast, and you can also buy the book there if you would so like, and that would be so fantastic. So tell me, when you met up with First Editing, you mentioned that you had been searching around a little bit. How was that process? How did you find us?
Well, the first thing that I want to tell is like I was like, okay, I'm gonna jump into the project of writing a book. And one thing that everybody must do is like sit with someone that has already the experience.
Exactly.
So when I was like with a person that was like my introduction coach,
Mhm.
he gave me these two lines that says like, once you finish your book, don't go to your English teacher
No.
or your best friend that knows a lot of English.
Mm.
That is a no-no, because they are not professionals that live, that has a 9 to 5 work editing and making text and all these essays better.
Yeah.
Don't do that mistake. And I was about to do it. It is like, go to a professional company. And it was like, okay, this is right. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right away correctly. So how we do it? As a human being, we go to Google, like best editing books or manuscript companies in United States.
Mhm.
And I found out a list of 17. It was a blog.
Okay.
And I found several of them, and one of them was first editing.
Okay.
And I saw that similar has different quotations, like similar brackets, like the 2 cents per word, four
Mhm.
cents per word, and six cents per word.
Mm,
I remember that like English is not my first language, so I said
mm.
like I think I'll have to pay like the the highest because but I was
Sorry.
like okay, but it's like you have to be sincere with yourself, you know.
Yeah, yeah. True.
And I
Very
was
true.
like, hey, I'm gonna pay because I know I want a professional that read everything
Mm.
and put it better. So I quoted. I see that was a as a service like well, you know, because it's per words, you know,
Mm.
you're the owner. So it's like, oh, a lot of words in this book.
Ah, a lot of words.
So I leave it like that. I leave it like that. You know, you do the like the due diligence, due
Mm.
diligence, and I was like, well, I was like okay, I'm gonna get my budget, you know, get it like done, and then I will get the like the process.
Right.
So I want to tell you the truth. I was like between three, you know, like from the
Mm.
17 was like three. Like okay, this is good. Okay, you know.
Mm.
And then I remember it was like 4th of July, and I I received like a promo, like independent promo first
Ah,
editing.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's a good promo, so it's okay. So I think that it's now or never, you know, because it was like 4th of July, it's like 1 day promo. It's like okay. So it's like I get my card. It's like okay, this is my book. This is the words, and that's it. And I like it because um, they when you quote you put like the approximate words because sometimes you can like you know like put a
Mm.
little more, put a little less. But you quote me with that, and we start with that. You know, we're like, okay, let me see. No, this is more words. I want to charge you more. You know, I saw like, okay, this is it. Let's go for it, and we start. So that is how
Excellent.
I start the experience with first editing.
Excellent, excellent. And so what were you expecting? I mean, when you come in and I mean, not from us particularly per se, but what were you expecting from editing? What was your what you expected versus what the reality was, I guess is maybe the better, more full question there.
Yeah, that's a good question. What was I expecting? Expecting like, um, I was expecting a person that can understand what I want to transmit with the book.
Mhm.
That was like my most, you know, like my doubt. Like the person that they will assign me will be able like to sense what I want to provide to the world with this book.
Mm.
So yeah, so I remember I was like, please, 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 I need to know the guy, the person,
Mhm.
via Zoom and have a little interview with him
Yeah.
and explaining like with my words what are like the three objective with this editing. So I have my objective very clear.
Mhm.
So I invite you like if you already have your book, your manuscript done, try to put an objective clear so the person that's going to edit can be aligned with that objective, and the objective is not has to be with the book per se. It have to be like what you want the readers
Mm.
to capture when they read your
Exactly.
book.
Exactly.
So yeah, I have my objectives clear and I provided, and well, I met Jefferson.
Excellent.
I remember he was like you know it's like it was like in his office, but I was like okay, who is this guy? If he's good, and he was very like okay, I understand. It's like yeah,
Mm.
but I don't know that. Then I understood like oh he do this for a living, so
Yeah.
maybe he already I'm saying A and he already know B C as you know
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
everything. And but I make it very clear like I want my book to be easy to read
Mhm.
because I have like a way of being that I'm very anxious, and
Yeah.
I and me when I'm gonna read a book, I'm gonna go. I like to go like direct to
Mm-hmm.
the part. In fact, I'm gonna tell you here's like a little story. Like when I see a Netflix movie or a
Yeah.
series, more a series,
Yeah.
I sit with my with my finger in the fast forward key,
Yeah.
and if something I'm talking, I was like, okay, go, okay, go, 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 go. I want to see the action. Okay, now it's not. I like go, 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 go. So I remember. So I remember say Jefferson. I want to go right away to the action. If you see that I'm saying, I don't know, like 20 words in a sentence, and it can be wrapped up in 5. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
The other objective was give me easy English. I don't know. I know that people like maybe are very in the the how you say they are more on the literature lovers or Shakespeare's lover. Like I respect. But me, I was like the opposite. Like do it for someone that barely knows English
Okay.
because I'm a Latin guy and want people like to like use.
Yeah.
If you can do the book with 100 words, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
Editors love
and
that. Editors
yeah,
absolutely love that because that's what we just cut away.
right. And the
So,
third objective was don't cut my essence.
mhm.
When you read the book, you start like laughing. It's just like don't erase my laugh. There's parts that I put like ha 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 ha. Like me laughing while I'm telling my story of my
Right.
habits. And Jefferson's like, okay, let's leave it. Like, oh, thank you. And then I was like, oh, this is the guy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great. So, I mean, it was a whole situation, and I mean, what I understand is that editing did make a good change. How did you feel when you got it back? Did it have a lot of red? Was it marked up? Did you feel discouraged?
When it comes, it's like, okay, let's see. You're like very excited. Like, it comes my, and then when I open it, man, it was a lot of red.
Yeah.
It's like, hmm. So my first fear is like they changed my concept.
Mm.
They changed my thing. So at first I was like, okay, I'm gonna check here, double check here, double check.
Oh.
And at the end, it's like, I have to trust. I'm paying.
Mhm.
Because if I will go like, because, the listeners, when first editing give you like the paper bag, they give you like the, how you say, like the comments in
Yeah.
a row. So you
Mhm.
can see what is the change. And if there's something that is specific, they will tell you like why they change it.
Right.
And you start like doing, comparing, like, okay, he says that he's gonna change here because of this, okay, and this, but then you start like, like it's too long. So what you have to do is just trust. You're
Mhm.
paying for a service, just trust. So what I did is I put like accept all. Boom.
No.
Yeah,
No, no,
I
no.
put accept all. And then I start, to read as a customer.
Okay.
And I have another like the original one. I have
Mhm.
it like in a. So when I read something that it doesn't sound like me, I will go to the original one. So it's like,
Ah,
okay, this is good, okay, and then I will go and it's like, okay, change me this one. So
okay.
it was more like double
Sure.
checking that going by one by because you get exhausted. What it is like, just trust, read as a customer, and compare with your original one, and it will go more fluently.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you actually compared it side by side because that's the most important thing is that in the end you read every single word and you checked everything and you approved it because ultimately it is your book, it's your baby, it's your words, it's your story, it's your expertise. We're just here to shine it and make it better. So you worried me, but I'm really glad you checked it. So that's good. So now we're both confident.
And one thing that I was feeling as well is like I feel like I have a conversation with Jeff, like because he
Ah,
put all the comments and he was like, "Oh, this." I was like, "Okay, oh, ha, ha." So even though I only met him once, I totally feel that was like having him like beside me, like checking the book. It was like, oh man, that
Nice.
is this person. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
We
That's
could
so
get it.
important to us. We really do value that human contact. And especially now, the world is heading into this artificial intelligence and there's some fantastic technology going on there and it's a great tool, but ultimately in the end you really do want a human to validate and certify everything that you've done and make sure that it is good, especially if you speak English not as your first language. It can be quite difficult. And anytime you speak more than one language, your grammar and punctuation gets messy. It just does. It
Yes, 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 yes. No, but I feel glad to trust. So one of my advice is yes, it's your book, it's your manuscript, but you have to if you're hiring a professional, you're paying, and it's a good company, just trust because if you try to control everything, you will not like let the how you say the professional to do this work. And I will tell you here a parenthesis. I got there's this guy called Leiva. He's a musician, a Spanish musician. That when he was in a band, no, like a group band, and then he goes solo. When he goes solo, he did his first album, and he played everything like the guitar, the vocals, the bass, the drums. And he said that that first album was like an infinite loop because every time he listened, he'd correct it and listen and correct it and listen and correct it. And he was a time, this is like, I will never finish this album. I only was like 12 songs. So what he learned in the next albums that he has is hire masterization, engineer. So he can see with another optic what you're doing. So, and it's like, that is true. Sometimes we get like in the loop, like, okay, let's correct this. No, you have to trust. You're hiring a company. These people are professionals. Just let it go. Sorry, I lose you. Hello. Let me see if it's me. Um, I can see you, but I lose you. Let me see if mute. No. Hmm. Let me check if I swap. If it's my Bluetooth. Sorry, we're live. That is part of the real things that happen. Mm, let me see if me. No, I think it's the platform because I'm able to listen to other things in the computer. Let me see if I can have a. I'm gonna go real. I'm gonna see if it's my headphones. I'm gonna swap real quick. Let me go to settings. Speakers. Okay. I did the test here in the system, and I was able to listen. I cannot listen to you, Joe. Sorry. I listened something there. You move something.
Do you hear me now?
Now I hear you.
Uh-huh, my microphone has died out. Let's just switch. That's why I always have a second one. Here we go.
There you go.
All right. So, what was I going to say there? Okay. Thank you for everyone for sticking with us. So, tell us a little bit about what happened after the editing. I know that you got signed with a publisher. Well, wait a minute. Let's back up. You also, besides editing, you got help with a query letter, I believe, and maybe some other things.
Yeah. That is a good point, because after that, um, there was also another thing, Joe, that wanna share.
Okay.
When the book was finished, I thought, like I see it, and it says like, oh, the manuscript, because it's a manuscript. I was like, and what happened is, when Jefferson, well, your guys like put it like everything, I read it back again, because you read your book like thousands of times,
Mm,
and I saw that there were like another things that gonna get better. Like, okay, I remember there was like this chapter that was like too heavy, so I
right.
split it in two chapters, and I
Mm,
changed some things, and then and I run out of how you say, of the service.
okay.
So it's like I was just like, well, for these changes you will have to, yeah, you're gonna,
Mm,
that's like, it's another service. So
yeah.
I remember it's like, uh, because you already got my confidence.
Mm,
That second time that I have to pay, I was confident that, it was like no harm. It's like, okay, they are doing a great work. So even though there was like a second review,
yeah.
I just paid it and I was like, boom, and then again, like, cool, cool.
Good. I'm glad.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, even though you finish your book and you have to do another review and you have to pay extra, just go for it.
Mm,
Forget about the money, because if you trust that the company's first editing is finishing and doing a great job, just like, you continue with them, because
mm,
they're gonna also be with you to make that product better. So, like,
good.
forget about the money. At the end you won't forget the money. You want to remember the money. Yeah, at the end, like, after a year, it's like, how much I paid, I don't care. I have a great book. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And I mean, it's been successful for you. So you've gone on from the editing and the query letter to, and I believe that you got help with the blurb there, and then you were able
Yeah.
to land a publisher, right?
So once I finish, it's like, who I'm gonna, like, I need a query letter. So once you finish the manuscript, you have to do the query letter so you can
Mm,
get signed with a publisher. So it's like, who am like, I don't know how to do a query letter. Maybe I can do it, but it's like, who is gonna be the most reliable person in the world that can give me a query letter?
mm,
The guy from First Edit, he says like, hey, can you give? It's like, of course, I did your book. Okay, so they were like doing the query letter by top of mind, because they already know my book. So it's like, and also like, Mike, can you do me the blurb? Yeah, okay.
mm.
So they give me. So like, don't try like to do the blurb in one place, and then the query letter in one place. Like,
Oh,
do
it's
it in
much cheaper.
one people. Yeah, because if a person have tons of hours reading your manuscript, there will be the best people besides you that know what you have done.
Exactly.
So go for it. Go with the blur, with the query. So after that, you have the query letter. You have to submit it to a lot of places
Yeah.
to see if you're signed, and not just places. You have to go for the literary agent that goes in your um,
Genre.
segment for,
Yeah.
general, right. My
Hmm.
one my was a nonfiction, so you have to
Exactly.
go to the person of nonfiction and says, hey, yo, Ellen, I saw that you released this book with this author. My book is similar. So it was it's like getting a job,
Mm,
getting a job. And I remember that I was like till early morning, like 3 a.m., writing query letters.
mm,
There's also some literary agents use like a query submit form.
yep.
That is also work, and some of them like just send the first 10 pages. Also, some of them like, as like for the first chapter, and I
Hmm.
was like, well, my first chapter is just like an introduction. If I send it, they will not. So at the end, Joe, it was like more than 30. It could be like 40 to 50 rejections. Like,
Wow.
no, no, no. I was like, I was like about to fall. It's like, I'm not a writer. I just did this. Uh, yeah, it's
But
maybe
then you
my destiny.
became zen, right? You became all zen about this, and You kept trying. So tell us
I
what
kept
happened.
trying. Well, when you get like, oh, this is a story that says like, well, my brother, he reads a lot, and he reads because like a gymnastic that he does, like, like reading because a healthy thing that he needs to do. So he needs to read. So I remember that I sent him my manuscript, and one day he called me and says like, Adrian, this book is good.
Okay.
Like I have read a lot of books, and this book get me hooked. Like there's something
Oh,
there.
nice.
Yeah, and it's like, whew, I should try. So what I did is like, well, I will try another country. So I remember a friend that was in the UK. Her name is Joanne Gordon.
Yes.
Joanne, if you're seeing this, my greetings. And Joanne, um, tell me, like, I'm in the UK and people here read a lot. You are like they call it the tube. You're in the tube,
Mhm,
but all people are with
mhm.
the books. You go to the main street like Piccadilly, and they have this bookstore called Waterstone, 4 or 5 floors of full of books. Like you should try here. It's
Mhm.
like, well, so then I start like submitting query letters over there until I get this publisher called Europebooks that get my book, and I cannot believe it. Like when I get the email like, Adrian, we like your book, we want you signed, we cover Europe. It's like, what, from Panama to Europe?
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
So that is how I get it. And one thing that the person that like, yeah, found me told me like, your book is well edited, like I like it, it's very light, you can sense it, like I can feel like all the objective that I was like that I request,
Yeah.
the person that read it got it. It was like,
Nice.
yes, yes. It's like, okay, the commitment was completed. So yeah.
Good.
So
That's so great.
so
Okay.
so so sorry. So
Go ahead.
the the lesson here is, even though sometimes we want to reach like a certain goal, maybe you can reach that goal in other ways. Like my goal was getting a literary agent in the United States, because
Mm,
that was my focus. I says, well, maybe that was not the window right now. So try to another way to reach your goal.
mhm.
So I went like from U to UK, and in England I get. So that's like the lesson that I want to show. Like maybe we're like, like we want this, like this, like this, like this, and
Mm.
maybe that is not the path. Maybe you can go to another path, and that path will go and reach your goal.
Exactly. Exactly. You just never know. But in the end, I mean, it's not over. You've just started in Europe, so now it's time to come back over the Atlantic, and it's time to go back to the Americas and see where it goes,
Well,
right?
the funny story, Joe, is like, so I started in United Kingdom. It's like, well, nobody knows me here.
Mhm.
I don't know if they, because I have my book is yeah, because when they're gonna edit your book, they ask if you want American English
Yeah.
or yeah UK English. So I remember I go, oh, but I did it in American English.
Okay.
So I don't know. So I don't know if they will get it. So like, well, nobody will know me. So what I did is like, I'm gonna prepare a strategy so people know me there. So I start doing my podcast,
Nice.
and yeah, and now how is life? Like now my podcast, the main consumers are United States of America, not UK.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's like, well, things change back.
Exactly.
So that is what a part of my strategy is, so people can know more about the book.
That's great. And I think it's fantastic because you have proven yourself. And so it really helps you stand out. In nonfiction writing, it's so important to have validity and validation, confirmation of what you're capable, that you're an authority. So all of that's been happening very well for you. And it's fantastic. So now you're selling and you're making progress, and the podcast is going on, and it's just wonderful. So tell us your website and the podcast I mean, if you have a schedule, so that our listeners out there can join you.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. My podcast, if you have a Spotify or you have an Apple podcast or
Mm,
Samsung podcast, you can search it as New Perspectiva. But if you want to go right away to my webpage, as Joe said, you can go to themorningsend.com, and then you will see one of the tabs that said podcast, and then the podcast it will show everything. Yeah, you can learn more about the tips on the book. And if I can tell, because people says like, okay, but what about your book? What is about? So let me tell
Tell us, absolutely. Tell us about the book.
yeah, so the book is about a process that I have to create because I need like some balance in my life. I came from being an entrepreneur. I have like 3 companies, and I manage a lot of stress. And sometimes you get like solo, like when you're like the owner of a company, you are like all day there. Sometimes you
Yeah.
feel like you are all by your side, and I thought like, maybe when you're in like when you're like in, I don't know, like you have a manager, your manager motivates you, and if you're like also a manager, you motivate your team. But when you're up there, you need to motivate yourself. So I was like, Adrian, I have to create a set of habits in the morning,
Hmm.
like the ultimate morning routine, so I can feel more empowered, I can feel happier, I can focus on my goals and have a healthier life. So from there, I like within 10 years, I was doing trial and errors about like, okay, let's practice this habit. It doesn't work. Let's practice this one. Oh, this worked. Let's practice this one. It doesn't work. Let's practice this one. Oh, this worked. So I start like testing until I get like 11 habits, 11 things that you do in your morning
Mm.
and are very like seamless. So you don't have to do like, I don't include exercise, but people say like, oh, Adrian, so you put exercise. I put a part in the book that's like morning zen, no pain, no sweat included.
No sweat.
So it's no exercise because I think that exercise is more like a, a taste thing because people maybe like to do exercise in the morning, other
Mm.
after work. So it's more like like a tasting.
Mm.
But I include other habits like meditation, but I also create introduce like how to do a manifesto, like how to hack your morning so you can be happier, how you can review your day so you already know how to be prepared for the rest of your day. I also put some like morning concoctions, like what are the best morning concoctions and why. um, I also introduce like the importance of waking with no alarm, and I explain like the sleep cycles. So when you
Mhm.
go sleep and you wake up with more energy. So it's a lot of very very good that as I say, I try and test it, and I do it for me. And during the pandemic, I start like sharing with people and friends, and also people that want as a coaching, and they start like, hey, you should do this, let's do this, you have to do. So we started like, it was like a 4 session coaching, because if you do like the whole 11 habits can be tough, it's like, oh, too much. So it's like, okay, first set this 3, the second this 3, the other this
Mhm.
2, this 1. So we were like doing this all this stuff, and at the end I get one customer from like far away
Yeah.
send me a voice note, says like, Adrian, you have magic here. This
Oh.
has changed. This has changed my mornings. This, this like, and he was like, I want to tell you a secret. Like what? Like my 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 business went broke.
Mm.
Uh, my partners were like, when there's no money,
Yeah.
business partners, start like, struggling. So
Mhm.
like I'm not going well with my business partners. My investors are calling me for money,
Mhm.
and my wife wants to separate. Like, we
Oh
want
my.
people need a divorce. And she was like about like, yeah, I don't know what to do. So I was like, hey, try to do this morning send in like you just. And there's a secret of the morning send. Within the day, we don't know what is going to happen. Like, the day we were like firefighters of the day, because we wake up and we take breakfast, and then we go.
Mm.
Okay, we see emails. Okay, this phone call, the customers. So we are like yeah, we depend on the day, and
Mhm.
then we get frustrated if something doesn't go well during the day. But most of those things we could not control it because it's part of the
Exactly.
day. So what
Exactly.
I discovered in the morning saying is like, focus in the things that you can control,
Mm.
which means if you do these 11 habits before your day begins, you will control them and you will succeed your day. What happens after the morning zen is life, and you cannot control it. But before and during your morning zen, if you do it, you already win.
Nice.
So when he discovered that, he was like, Adrian, you have something real. You're gonna help a lot of people. You should immortalize it with a book. So I started, okay, let's go for it, and it started, and yeah, and the rest is history.
That's right. That is so fantastic. I'm so glad we could be part of your journey, and I look forward to your next book because I assume there will be more. Normally doesn't end that way, you know. If you find one magic habit, it'll lead to your next habit of book writing.
Sure, for sure. I'm also in the public speaking that people like people are calling me, companies are calling me for public speaking and motivational speaking. So I'm like, yeah, I'm so far I'm like enjoying the morning sun, enjoying all the things that comes, and then I will go for the second. But for sure, I will call you right away. Like, Joellen, give me the guy, give me Jefferson. He's still there. Come back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ah, that's fantastic. No, I mean, and that is the great thing. As a nonfiction author, you know, it really provides a bouncing platform for you to build upon. It's basically a working business card for you. It's great to make communication, and as you said, it builds trust because once they trust you, then they're more likely to come back and have you speak again and again and again. So that is, it's such a fantastic story. I'm so glad that we got to share this today and that everyone got to join us on this path of your journey. And I hope that it inspires everyone else out there who has dreams of publishing, dreams of, you know, finding the agent. Don't forget that, you know, really, this is very similar to Stephen King, you know, 40, 50 rejections before you get that one. And then everything just, the door just opens. It's just a door, you know, and it opens and it's the next step. So it really is inspiring to hear that, even more so because you had to struggle, and I know that that's the hard part, but it makes it all the sweeter, I think. So again, thank you so much, Adrian, and I encourage everyone to go over to themorningzen.com and check out his podcast, order the book, and leave us some feedback. And if they want to get a hold of you, Adrian, do you want to share your email so if they'd like to get a hold of you?
Sure. It's Adrian at the Morning Zen. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, is Adrian underscore GNLZ Gonzalez. I'm going to
Perfect.
repeat Adrian underscore GNLZ.
Nice, nice. Everyone, thank you for joining us today. Please subscribe and like everything that you've heard. And if you're an author out there waiting to share your story out there, please come and contact us. We'd love to do that. We do have editing services available, and we love being part of your story. Thank you for joining us today, Adrian. And thank you to everyone out there. We'll talk again soon.
Bye bye. Ciao.
Bye bye. We're still live. Let's see.